consumed film. So we always kind of had a love for it. After I blew my knee out, now what do I do with my life? So I find this videos online, and it was just the most vicious, brutal street combat that I ever saw. And I was like, I think that's what I want. You get to live out a version of your childhood dream. Like, I'm on film fighting people. Like, this is so cool.
Tim Kittelstad, known for his work as a stuntman, fight choreographer, and Wing Chun instructor. His journey encompasses a deep commitment to martial arts, passion for storytelling through physical performance, and a personal philosophy rooted in faith.
There were explosions, there was guns. I was in a helicopter. I almost hung myself accidentally on that show. My foot hooked one of the ropes, and I was already jumping, and I had a rope.
That was some badass stuff.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Star Wars fight scene?
Most of the lightsaber stuff we see is all wacky tacky glow sticks. Look how fast we can whack our glow sticks, right? A lot of things I don't like, I see in films. This could be done better, that could be done better. And y'all have all the money, why isn't this better? But wait a minute, if I'm going to complain about something, maybe I need to go do something about it. How about I go make one myself? If I'm going to complain and like talk about these other projects, well, go show your work then.
Welcome to another episode of the Real Mentors podcast. As always, I'm your host, Sean Martin, and REAL stands for Real Examples Altering Lives. Today, I have an amazingly unique guest, Tim Kittelstad, known for his work as a stuntman, fight choreographer, and Wing Chun instructor. His journey encompasses a deep commitment to martial arts, a passion for storytelling through physical performance, and a personal philosophy rooted in faith. His unique blend of skills and experience offers valuable insights into resilience, empowerment, authenticity, and leadership. Welcome to the show this morning, Tim. How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just, staying out of trouble. How about you?
I have been staying out of trouble for a while now. I have my wife and family to thank for that. Trouble's no fun anymore, but
yeah.
You have a unique career, which seems to be a lot of fun. Although I'm sure you take your share of bumps and bruises. So, we met through a Zenith event where you and your team came in, literally, guns blazing, and we had no idea what we were in for, but it was a hell of a treat and a hell of a surprise, followed by an exercise in, I guess, stunt jumping 101, where I got to throw myself off a not so high balcony, and then a not so much higher, but high enough to scare me for a little bit balcony. How'd you get into being a stuntman and a stunt coordinator?
So my brother and I, funny enough, we were actually both homeschooled growing up. So we consumed film, right? So we always kind of had a love for it. We just appreciated it, loved it, whatnot. And one day, my whole life journey, I was actually pursuing professional soccer. So I was always in sports and athletics and whatnot. Did a little martial arts growing up. Blew my knee out, tore my ACL. I come home, start training martial arts. Through a series of events, a young lady walks in and we started dating. She was a stunt girl and she was actually performing at Legoland. And I had helped up in Virginia with some like student films. They needed like a martial arts guy. So I popped in and was like, anybody need a martial artist? And like they had some like action sequences, right? But when I met her, she introduced me to a local stunt coordinator named Kevin Rico, who's over in St. Pete. And once I made that connection, started hustling, showing up on sets for free, just how can I help on my time, and building that relationship so he knew he could trust me, he could see what I could do. That's what kind of opened the door.
How old were you when this was going down, when you were kind of just volunteering yourself?
Yeah, I was, this was 2000, I blew my knee out, 2011, 12, around 2014-ish.
Okay.
So I was about 20, 23, 24, somewhere in there.
So did you have an idea of what you wanted to do, or this was just calling you and you said, you know what, screw it, I got nothing to lose. Let me see if I can add some value to what they're doing. I'm not going to ask for anything. I'm just going to show up. And the reason I accentuate that is because in any industry, in any career, people are always wondering, well, how do I get in the door? And school obviously doesn't teach you this to some extent.
Nope.
I'm talking traditional school. There is stunt school and things of that nature. But I commend you because you just said, screw it. You know what? This is calling me.
Yeah.
How can I be of value? What was that like? What gave you the courage to go in there and just say, hey, I'm here if you need me?
Well, with stunts, I would say it's a bit easier than maybe other avenues of business where you need to, you need to show up and provide value to build that relationship. But stunts, like, wait a minute, I can go fight on film. I'll do that for free anyway. Like, it's just fun,
right?
So there's an aspect of you get to live out a version of your childhood dream. Like, I'm on film fighting people. Like, this is so cool. But I think it was just, honestly, I'd done a lot of other business work growing up, sales and whatnot prior to stunts. So listening to entrepreneurs and even Tony Robbins and just hearing how they had to put their nose down, make those connections, meet people, because you grow through people, right? And so it wasn't about the job. It was about the guy on the job, the coordinator, and you need to be around him. But he doesn't know you from Adam. So you offer your time for free, right? And you get up there and you're just helpful. And what they're really looking for is what type of person you are. And if you're consistent, you have integrity, you're honest, like, he'll remember you. And that's what happened, right? And this is from the local, like, non-union coordinators all the way up to the big guys in LA and Atlanta. It's the same thing. If they can trust you because you have integrity, you'll stay on their radar.
Now, how many henchman number 1, henchman number 2 credits do you have to your name? Because
a handful, yeah.
Breaking into the business, I would imagine you're the one getting your ass kicked at first.
Yeah.
Before you can do the ass kicking.
100%. Yeah. And then you don't have the skills either to do the bigger stunts anyway, So as you're getting into it. So stunts, encompasses an extremely wide variety of skills, right? Anything from driving to rappelling to fire burns to fighting to tripping, playing basketball and, falling over, like, that's a stunt.
Right.
And so as you're breaking in, you're also trying to develop the skills you want to be known for. But yeah, it's a lot of driving around, driving to Miami. Guys will hustle. They'll drive up to Atlanta to be around those guys. And yeah, there's a Jackie Chan start, and I don't know how many people know this, but if you go back, I forget which Bruce Lee movie it was, but Jackie Chan is in a Bruce Lee movie as henchman number 4, and you can actually see Bruce.
Find that right now.
Yeah, find that clip.
It's crossing my mind.
Yeah, so you'll see Bruce. He's beating up a whole bunch of people, and he grabs this guy by the hand, pulls him back, and does, he hits him in the back of the head. That's Jackie Chan going,
that's hilarious.
And he gets knocked away. Apparently, in behind the scenes, Bruce actually whacked him pretty good. But Jackie, the whole joke, it's, you're a stuntman. You take the bump and you're like, no, I'm good. But he's like, no, he actually hit me pretty hard.
Now, what's the hardest you've ever been hit by mistake?
Oh, let me think. I've worked with some pretty good people. I don't know if I've taken, I'm going to be honest. I don't think I've been hit. I'm sure I've dealt my fair share of hits to others. It just happens. But I've had a very good cast and crew that I've worked with. I honestly don't think I've taken like a bad hit where they weren't supposed to hit me or they overdid it. No, I did have one. Sorry, I'm gonna take that back.
Is that the concussion? It's finally coming back to you, bro.
Yeah, it came back. Took a second. No, I actually took a break from stunts for like a year and a half. I thought I was going to Brazil to be a missionary. It's a whole life thing, a story, different story. But came back to Florida, and Kevin Rigo's like, oh man, Tim's back. I need your help. We go down to Mulberry, south of Lakeland. And it's one of those, like, show up, choreograph it and shoot the scene. It's a one-day, stunt fight thing. Well, this young lady, she's not a stunt fighter. She's an actress that played volleyball. So we're figuring out this fighting, and she's supposed to kick me in the leg. You do it wrong, and you get your knee blown out. And it got pretty close. Oh, and then her side kick, she didn't know how to control it, so I get popped in the diaphragm. Pretty good, but hey, I'm the stunt guy. I'm supposed to take it. So it's like,
business.
Yeah,
it looks
that's
more
exactly
realistic
right.
when it's real, right?
Yeah. There's if you another good one if you want to plug it. If you look up Jackie Chan versus Benny the Jet Urquidez in Meals on Wheels, there's slow-mo. Benny the Jet at the time was the world's greatest kickboxer. Right, he was like ranked like he was an actual fighter. Jackie's full on hooking him in the face, smashing him. You watch it in slow-mo and you're like, that doesn't look like a stunt hit. It looks like he was straight up smashing him in the face.
Wow.
So anyway. Yeah.
Well, listen, I guess he's used to getting punched in the face. So it was no big deal. I guess Jackie's not the biggest guy, but nonetheless. You mentioned Kevin also. Was Kevin the one that produced the Zenith event? Or
yeah, same. That's the same Kevin Rigo. Yep, that's the same coordinator.
Hello,
he's
Kevin.
A really good guy.
Shout out to Kevin. That was definitely an awesome show. Tell us a little bit about your ongoing education, because like us, we met at a self-development seminar, business group thing that I'm part of. Does that go on in your world where, like an attorney or anybody else, you've got to continue learning? And how do you do that?
Yeah, so that's a very, very good question, actually. So, I mean, stunts is a business, or film it's a business, right? And so it's funny because all of my sales training and customer service, things I had done in other fields. So that's actually helping because you have to navigate people. So your ability to communicate and handle problems in high pressure situations, that's an aspect that whether or not you're in film, like, it's very helpful to know how to persuade people and change their minds, but get them on your team and not be, confrontational about it. So that's the side note. That's actually been very helpful. But yeah, stunt people, they're always training because you could literally get a call tomorrow to show up the day after. In fact, I'm actually going to Miami tomorrow because I got a call yesterday, and kind of harkening back to the whole hustle mentality. This coordinator I met 6 years ago and did one job for him 6 years ago.
Look at that.
And I got a listing from a buddy. It was down in Miami. This kind of went 6 or 7 years ago. And I said to Kevin, and I was like, Kevin, should I really drive all the way to Miami just to be an extra? So for those who don't know, an extra is those people in the background. They're not stunt people. They just, they're eating the food or they're walking, but that's how you make connections. You show up, you're an extra. And sure enough, there was a stunt team involved in this shoot. And I said, Kevin, is it worth me driving all the way to Miami just to be an extra? And he goes, that's a Juan Beaufil film, go. I said, okay, drive all the way down to Miami. And Juan Beaufil's there. He's a big coordinator down there. And 3 days in, they need people on the heavy bags, right? It's a boxing gym. And I was like, well, that's me. So I walk over, action, but you can't hit the bags because of the audio, right? So you have to stay quiet. The second they say cut, I kind of look over my shoulder, pa, 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 I start nailing this heavy bag because of all of my martial arts. And Juan goes like this. Long story short, who are you? Like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, Kevin Rigo sent me to meet you. He goes, okay, great. I got a job for you next week. Booked a stunt job. And so he just called me 2 days ago to go down to Miami for, it's like a Telemundo or something. But so at the drop of a hat, you could get a call. So we're always training. We're always developing our skills and widening our ability to provide value to those film sets.
Yeah, I love how, proximity truly is power. Just being in the room or on the set opens up the door for you to hit the heavy bag, and then an opportunity presents itself. Just like you put yourself in a position to win just by showing up initially and saying, how can I help? Do I need to get punched in the face? I'm your guy. Let's go. Now, martial arts has been a big part of your life. How far back does that go for you? Yeah, I started... I think I was 10 or 11. I did some Taekwondo, and then the instructor left the area, so we stopped. But I was pursuing soccer. That was where my attention was. So I didn't re-up it anywhere else. I just kind of focused back on soccer. But it was always in the back of my mind. I always loved it. Again, growing up watching all the Jackie Chan movies and The Matrix, and it's just always fascinating. After I blew my knee out, this was 2012. I think it was right around there. I come back home. I was in Virginia when that happened. So I come back home and I'm like, well, now what do I do with my life? Started doing some MMA, but I was like, I don't want to be like a cage fighter or anything. So I find this other school, and everything I see on his videos online and whatnot, it's like, I've never seen a human do that to another human that fast. And it was just the most vicious, brutal street combat, that I ever saw. And I was like, I think that's what I want, because I love martial arts, and I want to be able to protect a family if I have one day. That's all I wanted. I wasn't trying to be, like I said, like a cage fighter or anything. So I started studying there in 2000. I think it was 2012 was when I started.
And yeah, I ended up working at the school for a long time and helping develop. There's a lot of where my business experience comes from, is actually helping him develop the school, the internal operations, the sales structure, the customer service. He didn't even have, as an example, he didn't even have a CRM in place to track his leads. And we were by hand. Tim, here's a contract. Okay, Sifu. And we would have to type in the phone each individual credit card. It was terrible. But anyway, so I ended up becoming one of his head instructors there. And then we do multiple martial arts. And so when I became a stuntman, because I had been studying not just Wing Chun, but kickboxing and some wrestling and some jiu-jitsu and all of this, I had this like plethora of knowledge. When I got on the film set, I could pull off the shelf, all these different, martial arts.
Now, Wing Chun is, for some reason, that's reminding me of Bruce Lee. Mm-hmm. Is that his?
Very good.
Is that his?
Very, very close.
Okay.
You're on the money. So this is the system Bruce Lee started in before he came to America.
And then he spun it off and got shit.
So so he never finished Wing Chun. So he never got the full picture, right? He did, I think it was between 3 to 5 years ish. And then he left, came to America, and then he met, of course, Chuck Norris, and he saw the guys doing fencing and boxing and started to make his own system. And I have many stories that I've heard directly from the masters of things that happened in Bruce Lee's relationship, but he always maintained a very good relationship with Ip Man and all the other grandmasters that were there.
Ip Man,
if you watch Ip Man, yeah. So that's our great grandmaster, and I have a photo with his son, Grandmaster Ip Chun. Nice. Got to go to Hong Kong, meet him. He didn't know who I was. I'm sitting there next to him, and he's 90 something years old taking a photo with me. But yeah, so that was his source system.
It's like I guess our art form has reached that far away.
Yeah, pretty much.
But they're purists, I'm sure.
Yeah, I have stories upon stories in the Wing Chun line that we could go into. But it was designed that if somebody comes to hurt you, the way it's supposed to be used is you're trying to stop them in 3 seconds or less. It's very vicious. It's very brutal. I'm trying to break something, maim you, kill you if I have to. It's not meant for sports and slappy tappy, like having fun. It's meant to do damage quickly. So.
Yeah, I was treated to a self-defense, I don't want to say class. It was like a 6-day thing when I was at a Tony Robbins seminar. And it was to disable, maim, or kill as quickly as possible in an emergency situation when your family or someone, or you're being held hostage and you've got to, you're outnumbered. And it was brutal, but it was fascinating. I think the gentleman, he wrote a book, I can't remember his name, but When Violence is the Answer. And it was it was fascinating because everything we did was in slow motion, first of all, because we were taught, practicing at full speed, you're obviously going to make mistakes. We've got limited amount of time. So everything was done in as slow motion as possible. And they tell the story of repetition because should you ever need it, God forbid, it'll come back to you, whether it's raking the eyes, or using your forearm to go for the throat. Just short movements, but to debilitate.
That's good. The forearm for the throat, I like that because, sorry to just nerd out on you for a second, but a lot of times when you see like karate chops and you're chopping, they'll teach you to hit here. You can. It's not that you can't hit with the wrist and the hand, but you've got 2 rows of bones here. They're very weak.
And they're very frail.
And they're very frail. And then this takes conditioning because this is actually soft, right? So you need to condition this on the, on concrete and sand and like you're smashing this for years.
Martial arts movie with the rice or the sand.
Yeah. It's a real thing. It's totally real. You can condition your body. It causes microfractures in the bones. It sends calcium to the area and it literally calcifies. And then the skin, the nerves stop sending signals. So you literally get tougher, but the bone is right here. Mm-hmm. So I can take a 120-pound woman, have her smash somebody across the neck with this today.
Yeah.
And that's how we teach is when we're hitting in, you'll use the forearm. So that's great.
Yeah, ulna, it's called the ulna.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah, it was fascinating. It was vicious, violent, raking the eyes, going for the throat, breaking ankles, you name it. So you find the target, you go for it. You find the target, go for it. And then, I mean, even the goofiest guys in the room who are older or uncoordinated, I mean, just raking somebody's eyes. And to drive the point home, I know we're going a little off topic, but
yeah, it's all good.
But we started with martial arts and defense, right? When violence is the answer and how it can actually serve to save somebody. They showed us a video of an employee who was disgruntled, fired, and came back, and it was just him and the manager. They entered the back room, and you see the fight ensue. And the guy had a knife, and the manager was fixated. He was doing good for a while. And I'm getting goosebumps just recanting the story, but I mean, the manager was holding the knife. I mean, a good 5, 6, 7 seconds, they're fighting over the knife. And he then loses control of the guy's hand, and we watched him get murdered. And it blew my mind. It blew everybody's mind because we were watching somebody get killed. But the instructor was trying to drive the point home, and he just goes, "Did anybody see any openings there?" While he was fighting for that knife, he could have raked the eyes.
He could have hit him.
He drops the knife, he falls back, and you run. It's not about this movie shit, as you know, is movie shit. I've been in plenty of fights, and they never look like they do in the movies. Unfortunately, they're not as sexy. So, there's definitely a practicality, and that's why Wing Chun...
Yeah, we had a student, this is before my time, very similar story, believe it or not, is he worked at a bank. He was like a manager or something, and one of his guys took credit card information and went and used it, right? One of his employees, and they've had it all on video. They have the evidence. So he goes downstairs, and he'd been training at the school for about a year. He actually got upset about what happened. Let me explain. He goes and confronts the employee. He said, "Hey, so-and-so, you know what you did. You're fired. Get out." Well, the guy grabs a pen, turns around and immediately goes to stab him in the throat. So in Wing Chun, a lot of what we do is we use both hands at the same time. We don't like to pull back and fire one at a time. So we train in the very beginning, block and attack at the same time, block and attack at the same time, block and attack at the same time. So his training kicked in. He's not thinking about it. He has not been trained knife defense. We don't do that till you're like 7 years in, right? Like actual knife defense. So he sees the arm coming and he goes, wham! The guy drops the knife because he got knocked out in one punch. He hit him so hard straight down the middle, saved his life, of course. The reason why he was upset is because his rank, they were already getting into more follow-ups and using more techniques afterwards. He's like, I didn't get to do anything else. I knocked him out with one punch.
Well, thank God he fucking could joke about it, right? But, I mean, that's how effective repetition is.
Yes.
So, martial arts, repetition creates muscle memory, excuse me.
Yes. Yep.
What's something mentally or a habit that you have that has allowed you to grow not only as a person but in your career? What are some of the good habits that you've adopted over the years?
So something this keeps me. This is something I teach to when I'm teaching as well. Is it's connected to your it's connected to humility. And a lot of students, and this is where the reason I can speak to this is because I had to confront it in myself. Is that if you think it's all about you and you're the end all be all to everything, and you fail, right? Now your whole world shatters and you quit. So what you do is you've got to get your mind out of yourself, right? And one of the things I learned it was actually in business. I learned this. It's very simple. Is if you want what somebody has, you do what they do, you say what they say, you get what they get, right? And I adopted that pretty heavily. And I just go, okay, if somebody's got what I want, somebody's really good at martial arts, I just copy them. And then I know if I'm not actually copying them, their training regimen, their eating habits, whatever, and I don't get to their level, then that's on me. I can't blame anything else but me. And so when it comes to stunts, when it comes to business, when it comes to training martial arts, if I'm feeling like I'm sucking, I look back at my schedule, go, how much have I actually been training? Am I actually keeping up with the guys who are doing better than me? And it's usually no. usually I haven't been showing up as much. And so then it's a very easy barometer that I can be fair to myself to go, okay, if I'm not accomplishing what I want to accomplish, then I need to be tough on myself and go, am I actually taking the steps to get me there? Right. And my barometer is just people who are better than me in a good way. Right. I want to emulate them. So I have to emulate their training. And that's what's kept me humble, checked my own ego. If I'm in my emotions one day and I'm just dealing with it, then I get to gut punch myself and go, well, you haven't been putting in the work.
Right.
But that also is redeeming, because then you just flip the script and go, well, what's the answer? Well, just get back on the horse, get back into the regiment and training, and you'll get there. And then also translates into stunts. So if you're learning a new stunt, like I'm not strong on the acrobatics side, I don't have a gymnastics background. So that's my realm of study currently. It's improve my aerial skills and whatnot.
Okay.
It's terrifying to somebody who's not.
Wire work and things like that.
Yeah, wire work, high falling, like what you guys did is called a high fall. You guys did a suicide, right? So high falls, and then you have tricking, which I'm very weak in. This is where your ability to jump and do a round off back handspring just on the ground, right? So these aerial skills, because realistic martial arts is very grounded, we're not trying to get up in the air. We're trying to stay connected to the ground.
Right.
So that's a realm that I'm weaker in, that I'm studying and developing and learning. And so it's very simple. As I'm developing those skills, I just look at the guys who are doing it, find each individual step, train each step, and eventually I'll get there, right? I just have to allow the time to do that. And so then if I'm not putting in the work, step by step by step, I know I won't get what they have. So then I can't complain.
Yeah, well, you always put the focus on you. At the end of the day, you're the solution to the problem, whatever it is. So you've given yourself that accountability. You're now how many years into your career as a stunt coordinator, stuntman?
Stuntman, yeah. I started. The first gig I ever did was about, I think it was 2014, somewhere there.
A little more than 10 years.
Somewhere back there. Around there. So somewhere in the 7 to 10 year range. It's all kind of blurry, but it's back there somewhere.
It's those concussions again, bro. We're going to get you checked out. You have children, correct?
I do. I have a 3-year-old daughter and a 11-year-old stepdaughter.
Nice. And how has that been, not only integrating the family lifestyle into your career, which can drag you anywhere and is obviously very demanding of your time, and then also on the fun component, how do you get to share your pretty cool career? I would love to be, you're my dad at career day.
Fair enough. No, it's a lot of fun. We get to play and me and my stepdaughter, we met because my wife and my stepdaughter, right? She was about 6 when we met. And, so we met because of martial arts. So my identity, like when we met, was already kind of in that space. So it wasn't like it threw them off or anything. So a lot of the ways we connect is play fighting, and we'll do little stunts here, and we'll shoot little short videos together, and they love it. They absolutely love it. But my 3-year-old, when I'm outside training somebody or just practicing, even if I'm just practicing some recs or something in the backyard, she'll come out. She goes, Dad, I have to say action, So she's picking up on the mechanics of it. And they absolutely love it. And the getting to bring them, if I don't really bring them to film sets, but to training or just letting them get to see this is how you do a film set, is exposing them to how this all works. So they at least have the option if they ever wanted to get into it. They already know what's going on.
And is your wife in the space as well?
No, she's a she's a master extensionist, hair and whatnot. Yeah. So she's nothing. Although I will say it was 3 clients, and then 1 just left are in the WWE. And I just shot a fun video. The one who left the WWE 2 weeks ago, we're very good friends with her, and she's like, "Tim, I want to shoot another video." So this past Saturday, she came over. We need, theater and using the space, we need props. Like, it makes it more interesting. She's like, well, what do we have in my backyard we can shoot a stupid video with? Chickens. So we grabbed my chickens and shot a little stunt video.
That's funny. I remember Anthony Lally, who's a mutual, colleague and
Yeah.
friend, and I saw
Yeah.
you training his kids who are, both actors and in that
They're
space
great.
and kind of blooming into that space. And I was like, holy shit, I know that guy. And that's what actually sparked me. I reached out. I was like, dude, you want to be on the show?
Yeah.
This would be a cool,
It
unique
would.
segment, to say the
Yeah.
least.
Yeah, they're wonderful. I really, and it's a plug from what he's doing with, the biohacking and all of that. Like, aside from all the stunt stuff, like as soon as I saw what they were doing, it's like, I'm very in alignment with what you guys are doing. So just getting to be around them, like, I'm very blessed. Like, that's the coolest thing.
It's so cool because Anthony and I have never met. We've spoken on the phone. We've, texted back and forth. Anthony's documentary, From Fat Lolly to Six Pack Lolly, where he loses 125 pounds over the course of 10 months. He ends up getting skin removal surgery. And all this, I believe, was released when COVID lockdowns were going on or shortly thereafter.
Wow.
And his video inspired the hell out of me. And I've been a guy who has reached 350 pounds not once, but twice in my life. I've struggled with my weight all my life. And I've always got the motivation to just lose massive amounts of weight, and then I would gain it back. And this particular time, he had a great impact on me just by watching the documentary and then following him online. And I actually had the skin removal surgery as well. And I used the same surgeon that he used. Just on his documentary and seeing all that he went through and how much research and just trusting the fact that this high-level guy, this Brooklyn, New York City guy, did his homework, and we share that in common. And then I reached out to him and showed him pictures with the doc and all that good stuff. So
That's awesome.
it's crazy how social media and you go back to how you got inspired, which was you were homeschooled and you were film guy.
Yeah.
I remember my uncles watching Rocky, and there's that famous. Social media video where the young kid is watching Rocky and he's doing the montage with him. And that's what I'm envisioning when your daughter sees you, because you see these cool posts during May the 4th be with you, the Star Wars holiday that we've adopted recently, just passed.
Yeah.
And you guys put out some pretty cool lightsaber fight scene videos.
Yeah, I'm in pre-production, but I am going to be making a Star Wars short. Sometime in the next year. So we're location scouting right now. Have a little bit of funding coming in from another stunt girl. But yeah, so the idea with that is I want to tell a little mini, it's going to be only about 10 minutes long. So it's going to be pretty tight. A nice little story. The script is very tight, not a lot of dialogue. It's got a good little, setup with the payoff. But the idea being is that I'm going to stick to authentic swordsmanship as much as possible, because most of the lightsaber stuff we see, without getting too deep into the nerdy side of things, is all wacky tacky glow sticks. Look how fast we can whack our glow sticks, right? So
that's the new Star Wars, the new 6 films, because the original 3 were like old men just kind of trying not to hurt each other. It was so cheesy,
right?
And then when they did the Phantom Menace, I think was the first reboot or the prequels. Then they really took it to a next level. And, that reminds me of the Darth Maul scene. Now we're really pulling our nerd hat out. And that was, to me, still the best fight scene.
I love it.
When he's fighting Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. How about you? What's your favorite Star Wars fight scene?
It's that one. Ray Park. I don't know how much you guys know about Ray Park, but in the story that happened there, but Ray Park was a stunt guy.
Okay.
He was not cast as Darth Maul. He was just working on the set. And then the guy that was supposed to play Darth Maul, that fell through. And then Ray Park got pulled in, but Ray Park was an international wushu champion. Wushu's a Chinese martial art, right? And that's where all the butterfly kicks and the butterfly twists and why he was so good is because he actually was a martial artist.
Very cool.
So, they
he
pulled
stole
him
the
in.
show, man. Even though he got cut in half.
Did.
Spoiler alert. That was some badass stuff.
Yeah, it was absolutely incredible. And so my goal is to bring that style that they had in those original 3, especially the Phantom Menace, but I want to ground it even more. My weapons instructor, Mr. Anthony DeLonge, is out in California. He's in LA. He is, top of the food chain when it comes to swordsmanship. Fought Jet Li and Fearless. He just finished working with Jonathan Ramey on The Chosen to teach him the whip, because he's also a whip master.
Wow.
So he's worked with Harrison Ford. He taught Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman how to use the whip for Catwoman. That was him. So this is my instructor. So I train in his sword system, and I want to bring that all and then merge that with the Star Wars flair, and then make something nobody's seen before. That's the goal.
I can't wait, brother. What goes into something like that you're producing on your own dime and time? I mean,
it's a lot of it's a lot in a good way, because there's all of the, what ends up happening is it all comes to a head on the production days. And usually when you're, super small budget compared to the $120 million ones, $15 million ones, right? It can be done, but on the days of shooting, you have to be very precise, right?
Right.
Because you're not able to pay somebody, $5,000 for the week. So you get them for a weekend, and you're trying to make it fit because they've got to go to work on Monday or whatever, So a lot of it is you've got to be really creative, and you got to find other people that care about the project. Otherwise, the time and effort won't get put in, and it's just going to fall flat, So a lot of it is you wearing multiple hats. It's just like somebody's got a good business and they're starting from the ground up.
Right. You've got to be resourceful.
That's right. And it's the same. It's exactly the same. Then you find other people who are just as passionate about the story, the mission of that. They will also put in that time and effort with you. And luckily, being Star Wars, that's not hard to find other people that are passionate about Star Wars.
Now, what's the goal? Is it just to get eyeballs on it, and then it serves as a promotional tool for you and your team? Or
Yeah, that's one component. And I was location scouting yesterday, and my DP that I'm working with, we had a good talk. We were driving around, and one of the motivations of this is like, I have a lot of things I don't like I see in films, right? This could be done better. That could be done better. And y'all have all the money. Why isn't this better? So then that accountability kicks in, though, especially being an American. And I go, well, wait a minute. If I'm going to complain about something, maybe I need to go do something about it, right? Let's take some ownership. And that's what kind of spurred it on, is this storytelling, sword fighting. How about I go make one myself? If I'm, again, this is me checking my own ego, going, if I'm going to complain and like talk about these other projects, we'll go show your work then,
Nice.
Go do it yourself. And that's where kind of this came from, is let me put my money where my mouth is, and let's go produce something. And hey, if somebody sees it and it helps bring, recognition, and helps not just me, but the other stunt performers there, helps them kind of get seen a little more. Cool. That'd be great.
Very cool. And like you said, you're putting your money where your mouth is, because so many people, I always say there's that guy or gal that starts a job, and then 6 months in, they're like, oh, these people don't know what they're doing. And it's like, okay, so first of all, why are you here? And secondly, it's like, oh, so you can run the company better than them. So I love the fact that you're able to see your ego at play and temper it, and then say, let's go look in the mirror real quick. Hold on, homie. You're talking shit now. You got to back it up. So kudos to you. I wish you the best with that.
Appreciate that.
Want to definitely talk about some of your experiences on set, maybe some of the bigger productions, the cooler productions that you've worked on, and maybe a cool story or two from set. Yeah.
So a lot of stunt guys, they get started in live shows. So a cool thing that I've done is actually I've worked in China, did a live show out there. And then there's a show in Orlando called Pirates Dinner Adventure. So I was a dinner pirate for a while, which is a lot of fun. And short story about that, I almost hung myself accidentally on that show. Yeah, there's a bunch of rigging and ropes, and I was doing one of the rope swings, and I turned off the mainsail, or not the mainsail, what the main mast is, and my foot hooked one of the ropes, and I was already jumping, and I had a rope going like that. Spun out of it, and I was fine. But yeah, that was a close call. As far as bigger productions, I've worked. Stunts is such a wide variety, especially in Florida. Florida doesn't have a lot of big productions, and if it does, it's going to be in Miami. Like Bad Boys is filmed in Miami, but it's not a Florida-based project. It's always LA shooting in Florida. Like there were scenes from Edward Scissorhands was actually filmed here in Lakeland. What was it? The original Punisher was filmed in Tampa, some of it, right?
Oh, the Thomas Jane Punisher? Or the
Yeah,
Netflix?
the one.
The movie?
No, the movie.
John
Yeah, that came out. Yes, that one. Yeah, that scene's filmed in Tampa. But like the bigger ones I've done would have been what's her name? Elon Musk's sister. It's Tulsa Musk. I can't remember her name.
I didn't know he had a sister. I just knew he had 11 kids or something.
Yeah, so he has a sister. I just can't remember her first name. And she's doing this love stories, dramas and whatnot. And that was filmed in Tampa, but it was stunts wise. I almost can't even call it a stunt. It was literally run in the garage doors with the gun, get the bad guy down on the table, and that was it.
Okay,
got paid as a stunt guy, And then the production that I met, the two that I did for Juan, were both like Telemundo things. Like there's a lot of Spanish TV stuff that's shot down there. The one I did that next week was some big, I don't know, what do you call it? A telenova.
Telenovela.
Soap opera.
Yeah.
Telenovela. Thank you.
Well, Miami is the only international city in the United States that's like Central America, South America, and Caribbean more than it is America.
100%.
Cool.
And so I had to again, very simple but fun. I was drive a van up to a point, make it stop, run out, grab the girl, throw her in the van. That was one. I almost forgot about this. A couple months ago, I can't say the name of it, but we did shoot in Tampa, and this was something that's going to film festivals. But this involved I didn't do the McLaren, but there was a McLaren. There were explosions. There was guns. I was in a helicopter, right? Again, just sitting in it, and that was a really cool day. That was still being worked on, so I can't talk about it, but. I'll send you a clip later of that set. Yeah, but
and then you mentioned Atlanta. I guess Atlanta now is a burgeoning film market. I know Tyler Perry has a huge studio up there.
It's actually been big. It's been this. Yeah, so almost all the Marvel stuff is filmed there.
Get out of here.
Right. Yeah. So Marvel, Baby, Atlanta's the second LA because it's all. This goes into the business side quickly. This is all about tax incentives, right? And right now, Georgia has really good tax incentives for film, and that's why Florida hasn't seen that. So many people want to film in Florida. It's just too expensive because we don't have the same tax incentives. Now, I know that there's certain cities, again, I won't say which ones, but there's certain cities that are trying to get that back on, right? And
just makes sense because, yes, people, who don't understand equate tax incentives with something bad or giveaways for people that have it, but it stimulates the food, the housing, the transportation, the hospitality.
Yep.
You're having, dozens, if not hundreds, or even possibly many hundreds of people come to the state to shoot a film. And
that's exactly right.
Marketing and advertising for the location. So I think
that's local work, or local hires now get work. So the Florida film, the crew, the lighting, the gaffer, everybody else that's not in front of the camera, they now can work here in Florida. They don't have to move to Atlanta, move to LA, move to New York. And that's just not here yet. And that's where kind of plug in Miami Action Design down in Miami, where I go train as much as I can get down there. So Chris and Yesenia, the two owners there, they live in Atlanta. They're they're award-winning stunt performers. So they're in Marvel, they're in, all the Netflix series and whatnot. So they open up a school in Miami to start getting this ball rolling to attract people to Miami. So you can, go to their school, much like Kevin's here in St. Pete at K75, and you can study and you can learn, but both of these coordinators, they're connected to the big coordinators that are in LA, they're in Atlanta. So if there's a film that needs to come, they just call Chris and go, hey, we need 4 stunt guys. And he goes, I've got a crew here that are training, or whatnot.
So they're, I guess, homegrown talent, and they can source them out as well because they know that the market has plenty of talent, but just not opportunity.
Exactly right. And so that's what they're trying to build in Miami. That's what Kevin's building in St. Pete to kind of try to, bring that resurgence. So this is all you can see that post-COVID, they're trying to recover from that and get that upswing to happen. But yeah, both two amazing schools, amazing performers, at them.
Well, listen, I want to thank you for coming on the show, sharing your story with us and your time. We always like some parting words from our guests for potential entrepreneurs, or in your case, a potential, stunt person. Some words of wisdom that you learned along the way, and some things you wish maybe your younger self would have known.
Yeah. Never stop being a white belt, right? No matter what realm you get into, always be ready to be wrong. And if you're willing to accept you're wrong quicker than anybody else, you'll never feel bad if you get called out. This I learned in martial arts. Actually, I remember I was teaching a class, and because I was working at the studio, and it was this technique, block and hit the ribs, and then pull and hit the back of the head, but your right foot's supposed to go forward. And the other instructors that are higher ranked than me, they go, Tim, I think it's the other foot. And they're like, no, like I just tested on this. Like it's definitely this foot. And they're both like, well, maybe, right? And now we're all questioning, like, wait a minute, what's going on? So the next day I talked to Sifu. I was like, Sifu, we were confused. Did I get this wrong? Is it this foot or the other foot? And he goes, it's both. and so my whole paradigm went, wow, I could be so certain that I am right, and in a sense actually be right, and I'm still wrong. Right. And so when it comes to learning, if you're willing to just take everything you believe with but I could still be wrong, and you have that attitude about you, doors will open, you'll have better relationships with people, and then learning techniques, you'll learn faster if you're willing to pivot when something goes wrong, and that helps on a film set, especially on a film set. If you're you might design an action scene or think it needs to go away, and you show up and there's a tree there that you didn't think was there. And you have to throw out the entire choreography and come up with something new. Well, the show's got to go on. So stop complaining about it and just make that pivot. So the quicker you can accept the loss and just move on to what needs to be done, you'll just be a better performer.
Beautifully said. I've also heard it, and I guess this would apply. There was a Kung Fu master who was fighting off a lot of people. I don't know if it was full contact or it was just an exercise, but he said, how were you able to, anticipate, people's moves? And he said, it's not about anticipating what's coming at you. It's your ability to come back to center as quickly as possible.
That's really good. Yeah. To center yourself.
Yeah. I mean, the lessons are always the same. They're just stated in different ways and with different theories, but yeah, success is
that's 100% right.
It has a blueprint. So I appreciate you sharing yours with us. We're going to have your information in the bio. And where can our audience find you on social or online?
Yeah, I have an Instagram. It's just my name, Timothy Kittelstad. So I'll post whatever projects I'm allowed to share, or I'm usually posting stuff I'm just practicing, training, producing here. It's usually goofy, silly stuff. And then once we have footage that I'm allowed to share from films, I'll post it there so they can kind of watch, what's happening.
Well, we'll definitely get some of that up on our page when promoting the episode as well. And definitely follow Tim. He's got a great page and some cool stuff. And as always, thank you for tuning in. We hope you learned something valuable today. Thank you as always. Let's get it.